By midsummer, a vegetable garden can look wildly successful from 10 feet away. Vines cover the trellis, leaves overlap in a green wall, fruit hides under the canopy. Then you step closer. One branch is sagging under its own weight. A few ripe vegetables have been missed. Weeds are flowering between the rows. Lower leaves carry suspicious spots, and a bare patch of soil is baking where spring lettuce used to grow. This is the moment when many gardeners reach for the shears and start cutting. But cutting is only one possible answer, and often it is not the first one. A productive mid-season reset begins with 4 decisions. Rescue what is healthy but stressed, repair what has a specific, manageable problem, retire what is finished or seriously diseased, then replant whatever time and space are still available. The difference between a tired summer plot and a strong second season is rarely one dramatic chore. It is a sequence of small, informed choices. Begin with a slow walk through the garden and leave the shears behind. This first pass is for seeing, not fixing. Look beneath leaves and along stems. Notice where fruit is ready, where a tie has become tight, where a support is leaning, and whether wilting affects one plant or an entire bed. Check the soil below the surface instead of judging moisture by a dry crust. Turn over a few leaves and look for insects, eggs, chewing, spots, or discoloration. Now harvest everything that is genuinely ready according to that crop's normal maturity signs. Regular picking keeps usable produce from becoming overripe or damaged, and it exposes the structure of the plant. A hidden cluster of fruit can pull a branch down. Dense foliage can conceal a broken tie or a stem rubbing against wire. The first basket of the reset is not just dinner. It is a clearer view of the garden. As you move, make a simple mental map. Healthy but drooping plants go in the rescue group. Plants with localized symptoms go in repair. Empty spaces and clearly finished crops become possible replanting zones. Anything with rapid collapse, severe distortion, widespread lesions, or an unknown problem stays untouched until it can be identified. Rescue starts with structure. A plant leaning into a path or bowing under weight may not need pruning at all. It may need a stake, a wider tie, or a repaired trellis. Support stems without cinching them tightly, and reposition them gradually so they do not snap. Check old ties too. A loop that was loose in June may press into a thicker stem in August. Next, look at water. Mid-season plants have larger root systems and a larger canopy than they had in spring. Light sprinkles that wet only the surface may leave the active root zone dry. When irrigation is needed, deliver water at soil level, deeply enough to reach the roots, and preferably early enough for any splashed foliage to dry. The exact frequency depends on soil, weather, crop, and irrigation method, so use the soil itself as evidence instead of following a rigid calendar. A mulch layer can reduce evaporation and limit soil splashing onto lower leaves. If mulch has shifted, restore coverage without piling it against stems. If the soil is already saturated, however, more mulch and more water are not rescue. They can hide the real problem. The goal is an even root environment, not constant wetness. Nutrition deserves the same restraint. Yellowing leaves do not automatically mean a plant needs fertilizer. Water stress, root damage, disease, natural leaf aging, and nutrient problems can resemble one another. Before feeding, check the whole pattern, review crop-specific extension guidance, and use a soil test when appropriate. Panic feeding can waste money and still leave the original problem untouched. The repair group requires more patience. A spotted leaf is evidence, not a diagnosis. Look at where symptoms began, how they are spreading, and whether insects or physical damage are present. Compare the pattern with a university extension resource or send clear photographs to a local diagnostic service. Some plants with limited disease can continue producing, others require faster removal. The name of the problem changes the decision. If guidance calls for removing affected tissue, wait until the foliage is dry and rain is not expected soon. Wet leaves and hurried handling can help move some pathogens from plant to plant. Use clean tools, avoid dragging cut material across healthy foliage, and clean the blades before moving to another suspect plant. Remove only what the plant can afford to lose. An aggressive thinning session during heat can turn a manageable problem into sun scald or stress. Pruning should always answer a clear question. Are you removing diagnosed tissue, opening access to a cluster that needs support, taking out a broken stem with a clean cut? Those are purposes. Cutting simply because a plant looks unruly is not. Vegetable species and varieties respond differently, and removing healthy foliage can reduce the plant's working surface. A neat silhouette is not the same as a productive plant. This is also the point to scout for pests. Search both sides of leaves, follow a damaged stem, and identify the insect before deciding it is an enemy. A garden contains predators, parasitoids, pollinators, and harmless visitors alongside true pests. Integrated pest management begins with observation, not a spray bottle. Small infestations may be handled by hand removal, barriers, or crop-specific cultural steps. Larger problems still require correct identification and a treatment threshold that makes sense for a home garden. If a pesticide becomes necessary, the label is the rulebook. The product must be labeled for the edible crop, the site, and the target pest. Follow application rates, harvest intervals, protective instructions, and every restriction involving blooms and pollinator activity. Never improvise a stronger mix, and do not assume a homemade recipe is harmless because its ingredients are familiar. Bees and other beneficial insects often work the same flowers where a careless treatment would land. If this kind of practical garden decision making helps you, subscribe to Pollinator.